Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Bonnie Ann. Happy birthday to me. Now I'm going to make a wish and blow out the candle. Greetings, everyone. My name is Bonnie Anne Pinard, and I am the principal songwriter for Immortal Aria, my band with my son Nathan Allen Pinard. I'm 61 years old today. How exciting is that? Well, I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about myself. My author name is Paisley Swan Stewart, and under that name I wrote a 3-volume book series based on Phantom of the Opera by Gaston Leroux, and it is called Chanson de l'Ange, and it is published on Amazon. It took me about 10 years to write the book and then have it published, and it's just been kind of rolling along since then. I've been married to my husband for 39 years this coming May, and although he's over 10 years in his diagnosis with dementia, he's a wonderful guy and he's doing great, and he's very supportive of Immortal Aria and everything that Nathan and I do. As you can see, or maybe you can't see, trying to move around a little bit here so you can get a look, I've got my home all decorated for autumn. Autumn is my most favorite season. It's just a time of the year where I enjoy everything about the candles and the warm drinks and just looking out the window at the beautiful leaves and the squirrels and the doves that we feed in our yard, and also going for walks in the park. And sometimes in Oregon we can have a stretch of days where the sky is absolutely blue, and you can go outside and just bundle up a little bit and go for a walk, and you're perfectly comfortable. We often have beautiful falls. Right now we're in the midst of a storm pattern, so today's a little bit gloomy, but other than that, I still love the autumn. I have a great deal of passion for all sorts of things. I love Phantom of the Opera, as most of you know. I love fairies and fairy tales and fantasy. I love the TV show Once Upon a Time, but Phantom of the Opera has held a special place in my heart for a number of years. In fact, going back to my childhood, and I just want to take a minute and talk to you a little bit about that. I saw silent movies when I was probably 11 years old, the Phantom of the Opera being one. I also loved Frankenstein, and I loved some of the other old black and white movies where you had a monster, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Those are some examples. And I can't exactly say why I was drawn to those, but they were just very, they had a magical feeling to me. Even though they were supposed to be horror movies, there was something magical about them to me, and also something meaningful about the stories. So I just grew to love them. And when I saw Phantom of the Opera particularly, I was really moved by the story. And even though the movie isn't exactly like the book, it still had enough of the book in there that I really got enjoyment out of it. Years later, I saw, in the early 90s, I saw Michael Crawford play the role of the Phantom of the Opera in Andrew Lloyd Webber's musical. And I've written about this on my Immortal Aria page, but I just wanted to say that I've never had a theatrical experience like that before or since. He was just so tremendous in that role, and it was so moving and so life-changing for me. It brought something out in me and brought a passion into my life that had to do with music and romance and all of that. And I loved it and continued to love the story and all the different versions, the movies and books that came out from the time that Andrew Lloyd Webber first did the musical. There were a number of books and movies that came out afterwards, and I enjoyed all those too, even though they didn't come close for me to the beauty of the musical. I suppose the thing I love the most about the Phantom of the Opera is that it speaks to me on a personal level. And it speaks about the value human beings give beauty as opposed to how human beings dislike ugliness or something that isn't attractive. And I love the Beauty and the Beast theme of Phantom of the Opera, which explores that, because you have this person who has a monstrous appearance. And you discover as you watch the musical, as you read the books, and in my books as well, that the Phantom has beauty within his soul. And you get to discover where that beauty lies. And he goes through a challenge of whether or not he's going to surrender to the darkness in himself or surrender to the beauty, which is understanding and loving another human being. And that's really what the show is all about in all of its different genres. That's how I see it. And on a personal note, I wanted to tell a little story about something that happened to me when I was a little girl. In the 2nd grade, I had to have eye surgery done, and I was admitted to the hospital for that. And it was a big deal back then for a child to be admitted to the hospital at 2nd grade, in the 2nd grade. It was a lot scarier, I think, than it is now for children, and I was terrified. My parents had to leave me, and I was all checked in my room by myself and scared to death. And my door opened, and this fella, this boy, rolled into my hospital room in a wheelchair. He came over to my bedside, and we started talking. He told me his name was Jimmy. Well, this boy had no legs. And I believe he had one arm, and then the other arm was basically a stump and wrapped in bandages. He also had bandaging on part of his face, and he had some sort of a skull cap on, I assume to cover his head, which along with a good deal of his body was burnt very badly in a fire. Jimmy came alongside me, and he brought me comic books and a candy bar, and just wanted to let me know that it wasn't scary to be in the hospital and that they would take good care of me. And he was very sweet. But I want to be really honest here. I was in the 2nd grade, and I had never seen a burn victim before, let alone someone close up, and let alone a child. I think Jimmy was probably 12 or 13. I didn't know how to talk to him. I am ashamed to say I didn't want to look at him. I felt funny in my stomach and queasy, and I kind of averted my eyes, and it's strange that I can remember this so clearly, but I really do, because it made such an impression on me. He was very sweet, and he offered to come and see me again. And then he ended our visit and went out the door, and I think the nurse came in a little bit after that to get me ready to go to sleep. And she asked me what I thought about Jimmy and did I enjoy my visit. And I actually remember saying to her that I really didn't want him to come and see me anymore. And that thought just, even today, it upsets me that I could have thought that about someone who just wanted to be a friend. But again, I wasn't used to it. I had never seen anything like that, and it was repulsive. His skin was shriveled. He was frightening to me. And it wasn't until years later, after seeing Phantom of the Opera and reading several books and really understanding the depths of the story, that I thought about that boy, Jimmy, and thought about him in relation to me and my love for Phantom of the Opera. And it made me realize that we have all around us phantoms among us, people who are outcasts, people who on the outside may have deformities, may be in wheelchairs, may be veterans from the war, may just not be really attractive people or believe themselves to be really attractive people. And yet those people are human beings, and like our phantom, they have something inside them that is beautiful. And we as other human beings, also have our own insecurities. I know I do. And I may not be a burn victim or be someone in a wheelchair, but I have things about myself that make me very self-conscious and uncomfortable around others. And so we can all relate to this story on that level. So as you can see, Phantom of the Opera is more to me than just a musical or a book or a story. It's an important fable. It's something that speaks to my heart, and I know it does to many others. And if you're watching this and you've never read the books, and I'm referring to Gaston Leroux, there's also my books. You're free to look my books up on Amazon. Again, Chanson de l'Ange by Paisley Swan Stewart. And there's lots and lots of other authors who have taken in hand the story of the Phantom of the Opera. There's no end to all the different takes on it, and it's just really fun to explore that. I wanted to talk a little bit now about why my son and I decided to do a CD that is based around the theme of the Phantom of the Opera. Well, again, for me, I don't really need to explain that again. But Nathan also was very impressed by Andrew Lloyd Webber's score and liked a lot of the music. And as a musician, I think he was drawn to it on that level. And then just being around me for all these years, always having the music playing, always having the books, always having someone talking about Phantom of the Opera, it just sort of grew on him. And I started writing my first song for the album in 2006. It's a very long story about how that came about, and I don't think I'll go into that today. I'll save that for another time. But that was the first song, and then we had intended to continue to write songs and do this album, create this album, for quite a long time before we actually did it this last May. There were a lot of things that happened, a lot of challenges that came into both of our lives that prevented us from being able to produce the album in a timely fashion. So it took a very long time, and he did some instrumental pieces, and if you've heard the album, you know it is a mixture of instrumental music and actual songs. And then I had been, over the years, still writing more songs. And so, long story short, it took us 10 years to get this story, or pardon me, this album really out there for the public. When people ask me questions about our CD and about Immortal Aria, the thing they want to know most is how Nathan and I work together. They're not really sure of the songwriting process, and I can tell sometimes by comments that people are confused about who writes what. So I just thought I'd take a minute and let you all know how Nathan and I work together. All of the songs that are actual songs with lyrics were started by me as a song lyric. I always write, most always write the lyrics first. Every now and then I might come up with the melody first, but most often I write the lyrics. It takes me a lot, sometimes it takes me 5 minutes to write a song lyric, basically an outline. And then once I've written the song lyric, it takes another, often hours, or it might even take a few days to edit it, get the correct format, and get the song lyrics the way I want them. Then, many times, after I have written the lyrics, or even sometimes as I'm writing the lyrics, I'll get a melody that will come into my mind, and it's like I can hear it. And I'll sit down with either my guitar and grab some chords and play a little bit of the melody, sing along, and get the melody set, and then almost always I will put it, I'll record it. Now, I have the old-fashioned way. I have a little handheld tape recorder, which is perfect for that. And then if it's a song that I feel is good enough for Nathan and I to make a project, I'll share it with him. And he'll have a listen, and if he thinks it could be a song he wants to work on with me, then what he does is he gets an idea almost instantly. Some sort of a genre or a style of music will come into his mind, and he'll know that this is how he wants the song to sound. And I just want to give you an example of a song recently that is included on our album, and also, by the way, is an award winner, which I'll let Nathan talk to you about at the end of this video. The song is called In the Mirror, and it is a song from our Immortal Aria, the Angel Song album. And it's actually one of my favorite songs, and the vocal was recorded by a wonderful singer named Jay Weston, who is from Australia. And he did an absolutely brilliant job of giving the Phantom, this song is from the Phantom's perspective, giving him the power and the nuance and also the tenderness and the tragedy that he needed in this vocal. Well, with this particular song, when Nathan read my lyrics and heard the melody, he decided and let me know that he wanted the accompaniment, in other words, the orchestration that he does, to be very dynamic and rhythmic. Not with rock drums or anything like that, but something like a modern aria. And so that's the direction he went. And the first time I got to hear the actual orchestration with the vocal, I was so excited. I played it probably 20 times because it had so much energy. It had this driving pulse through it that really pulled the emotions out of the singer. And I'm really quite pleased with that track. Now on other songs, Nathan came up with other concepts. I had one concept in mind for one of the songs on the CD called That Summer by the Sea. Originally, I wanted it to be an accordion and a few guitars and maybe a fiddle. I wanted it to be very organic, but Nathan had sort of a movie score idea in mind. And so that song, That Summer by the Sea, which was recorded by Carrie Shaw, a wonderful UK artist. She's a 35-year-old mom and just a great gal. She recorded the vocal, and that song became almost Disney-esque. That's what we've been told by some of our fans. It has a Disney kind of quality to it, which really isn't my doing. Again, I wanted something more organic, but anyway, I love what Nathan did to it, and I'm happy with that song and all the songs on the CD. Working with Nathan, my son, is one of the greatest joys of my life, and we've actually been songwriting together and doing music projects together since he was 14 years old, and we got him his first keyboard. I used to lead worship for our church, and we would take some of the worship choruses and he would make new arrangements for them. And then we also worked on a very early album I did that was songs I had written that were worship songs or songs about my faith. And Nathan he not only wrote all the orchestration and the accompaniment and hired the musicians, because on some of the songs we had live musicians, but he arranged all of the sessions and pretty much produced the album at a studio that a friend of ours owned in Gresham. And it took a long time also to create that project, and it's kind of a passion project that we don't really have out on the market, but it's something that brought a lot of joy to my life. And as we look ahead for Immortal Aria and want to congeal and to build on that brand, Nathan and I are in discussions about what project will come next. I would love to continue writing songs that fit with the Phantom of the Opera. For me, especially as the lyricist, I don't think there's any end to the number of themes that you can explore from that story. And when I see Andrew Lloyd Webber's production, which I love, or read a book or see another movie version of Phantom of the Opera, I always feel like there's pieces missing that I want to explore, wish I knew more about. For instance, I would love to know more about Eric's childhood. And so I actually recently penned the lyrics of a song that so far is just lyrics called My Mother's Eyes. I shared it with a couple of my friends, my super fans on Immortal Aria, and they were very excited about that song. I don't even think Nathan has seen the lyrics yet, and I'm not sure what we're going to do with it, but I'm hoping that gets put high on the list of our projects. Also, Nathan is very interested in creating his own cover of the Phantom of the Opera theme song. He wants very much to create a totally different kind of accompaniment, orchestration. And then we want to find vocalists to do the vocals. We're thinking that Jay Weston, who sang In the Mirror, would probably do the Phantoms part, but we will be possibly looking for a Christine, and if that's the case, we will be holding auditions. Nathan's got to find a way to make some money. He was laid off from his job a few months ago, and he has moved back home here with his dad and I so that he can kind of help care for my husband. He's in the stage of dementia where I just need more, my husband is, not Nathan, where I need more help around the house and with practical things, and just really being here is taken Nathan being here has taken a huge load off of me. I feel so much relief from that. You have no idea. So I really appreciate that. And he's making a big sacrifice. So, but he's going to have to find a way to make some money, and he's looking into all different avenues, and that will probably come first before we do more Immortal Aria projects. And plus he has ideas under his own brand, Nathan Allen Pinard, of albums and songs he wants to do. So it'll be exciting. There's all kinds of ideas we're kicking around, and I'm hoping that y'all stay tuned, and please visit our Immortal Aria Facebook page. And if you haven't joined our Facebook page, please do that, Immortal Aria. And other than that, I just want to say it's been great talking to you, and have a musical day.
Hello everyone, this is Nathan Allen Pinard with Immortal Aria, and as my mother mentioned, we won Adult Contemporary Song of the Year at the International Music and Entertainment Association Awards. And as you may have seen before, I went ahead and went up and accepted that award, so check out this clip right now.
And the winner is? In the Mirror by Immortal Aria.
Anxiety's not gone yet. When my mother wrote the lyrics and melody to In the Mirror, I immediately knew it was going to be powerful and emotional. With Jay Weston's vocals shooting into the stratosphere, my movie soundtrack-like orchestration, and Kimberly Starkey's ninja piano skills, this song really packs a punch. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Thank you.
So yes, that was pretty fun. It was an interesting trip. I like Tennessee. I didn't mind it. I hate flying. But anyway, to go ahead and check out our CD, which is apparently now award-winning, you can click here and it'll take you to Bandcamp. Also, you can go down below in the description to see all the links in which Immortal Aria is available, to buy the album The Angels Song. So click here and get the CD on Bandcamp, or go below in the description and see more. And please tell your friends, family, neighbors, bosses, pets, whatever. Just go ahead and spread the word on this CD, and we'll be doing more. We have a bit of plans in the future. We're not going to announce them yet, but you know some of them already. We'd like to go ahead and give this Phantom of the Opera cover a shot. There is a couple of weeks that I gotta figure out before doing that, because I have actually some other personal projects and possibly a classical crossover project, and maybe more on that in the future. So just wanted to let you know, and thank you very much for watching our second blog. Yes, second blog. And we hope to see you in the future.